everybody. It is the year 2025. Officially, this is January the 1st day of the year, and on the first day of the year, you are getting a brand new episode of The Voice of Camp Nathaniel. Still going after all of these years. My name is Stephen Bell. I am one of your hosts here. I've got a co-host sitting across from me, too. The ever Wittershinny.
The what?
It's Wittershinny.
This is Lee Sharp, and I have no idea what that word means.
It means it means I don't even know how you explain this. Okay. In a left-handed or contrary direction. So all of a sudden, and you're going to see where I'm going with this here in a second.
I feel like you're describing our intro right now.
Well, kind of.
On a left-handed, weird just direction.
Welcome to 2025. This is what it's going to be like, all right?
Welcome to this year.
Yeah, it says, and I don't know what does that say about left-handed people. I don't know. I mean, are you a left-handed person?
I am a left-handed person.
See, there was a segue involved in that somehow.
We have Jeff McIntyre in with us today.
We did. You did introduce yourself, right?
I did, yes.
This
is Lee talking. Steven's across from me. Jeff is beside me. And
listen, man, we record these in advance, and so we get to hang out together like this in this context about once a month right now, and I enjoy this time.
I like how our intro is insulting our guest.
Surely not.
Who's also our mission director.
I can't help what the word means, all right? I just found it. Yes, we've got our mission director, Jeff McIntyre, joining us on the program today. Jeff, how are you doing, man?
Doing good, gentlemen. It's good to be here.
How's your 2025 so far?
Well, we're looking forward, literally looking forward to what 2025 brings, not just for us as a mission organization, but also to see really how God uses a lot of the people that back us and support us and pray for us, and those folks are so important to us, and we love them, and so we're excited about what 2025 is going to bring. There's a lot of anticipation, of course, a lot of question marks.
Yeah,
but that's what living by faith is all about, and this mission has been really kind of geared that way since its inception. You talk about another year, and we're going into year 93.
Wow,
this year. So we're very, very excited.
And this is traditionally what has become our January episodes, where we take a look back at the year that was, and we look forward to the year to come. And so this episode in particular is going to be entirely focused on, okay, what has God done this past year here at Camp Nathaniel in the year 2024. We're time traveling a little bit here, Lee.
Because there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that had to get put together and figured out with intentional prayer and meetings, and the camp doesn't just fall into place.
Really?
No.
Despite popular belief?
It does not just fall into place. It takes months and months of
planning, a lot of hands, man. Yes, indeed. Well, hey, let's take a look. I know we've got ourselves a list of stuff to reflect on here over the past year, and of course, this is why we traditionally bring Jeff in here at this time too, to talk from the perspective of our mission director here about all of these things that have went on in the past year. We got some new stuff to talk about.
Yes.
That we tried for the first time this past year, and a lot and some changes here and there, man, that are that have. So far, so good, I assume. So let's get right to it, shall we?
So back in January of 2024, going back in time here, we started off the year. Typically, January is one of our slower months just because it's winter and everything's covered in snow and hardly anybody is leaving the house.
Which, by the way, when we're recording this, there's like a blanket of snow outside right now. It's looking pretty good. Nice little postcard opportunity.
Very much so, yes.
To get out there later and grab a picture. But we started off our year. We had some work groups come in. I think we had Men's International Mission come in. And what did they work on exactly? I'm trying to remember, because they had a lot of projects that they came in and started with.
We have developed quite a history with MIMS. They're based out of Chicago, And that group comes with very skilled professional laborers. And one of the main guys who is part of that, he's been on our podcast before, Rick Parker, has a concrete company there in Chicago. And he has utilized that, and he uses that company as a way to not only encourage his workers, but he also encourages outside organizations. And Camp Nathaniel has been able to be one of those organizations that he has poured into over the past 5 years. And so starting way back in, 4 years, but starting back in 2020 with the Alaska Project and many different things that we've had, MIMS has come now on an annual basis. And we use their expertise to do the work in January on our pool. Some of you, the word may have gotten out that we were having some issues with our pool. There was a leak that we had for probably around 4 to 5 years, undetectable, could not find it. But through a lot of different scenarios and looking at the issue, we just came to the conclusion that it was probably within one of our supply lines. But in order to fix it, it would require us ripping up the whole pool deck and then re-putting down that pool deck, which is, of course, all concrete.
Yep.
Well, if you remember, Rick Parker works in concrete.
He's a concrete expert.
And so
He doesn't mess around either, man.
No,
I
he
mean,
doesn't mess around. And so
And this is I remember seeing you go over to the pool multiple times. This is not like an easy sort of thing that we came to, because it was, we're going to try this thing, and we're going to try that thing, and we're going to look at this and look at that. And it finally came down to,
before you rip up $20,000 worth of concrete, you just kind of like to know that you're going to fix it, right?
Right.
And so, it was a I'm not going to say that decision was an easy decision, but it was a necessary decision, and for the long-term future. And so anyway, Rick came in with his crew, and in a week we had the pool deck up, had the lines fixed,
had a much larger pool deck too.
And then we decided to take that as an opportunity to maybe make the deck just a little bit bigger. Family camp obviously is a very important week for us, and it was the deck got a little crowded during family camp, and so we looked at expanding that deck. And Tim Ushan, who is our facilities director, kind of led that and got it done. And you don't know until you know. And so we filled up the pool and turned it on, and we knew within 2 days that the leak had been fixed. And
Awesome.
We didn't lose a drop of water at all during the course of the summer while we were running that. So we praise God for that fix. We praise God for what was done on that. And so, MIMS is we're grateful for them. They come not only with skills, but they also come with resources. And so we love groups like that. And I'm just going to be honest and frank with our listening audience. If it wasn't for groups like that, if it wasn't for work groups like that, Camp Nathaniel would not be where it is today.
That's true.
I look even back, we talked about the gym project when we built the gym. That was done primarily with volunteer labor. It's groups that come with the skill set that sees what's going on, what's happening, and we're just grateful and thankful for groups like that.
Good. Now, obviously, during the flood, we don't have to take a lot of time here necessarily, but during the flood, we had some extensive damage done to the swinging bridge, and that's part of this too. Groups coming in and assessing that and help making that, and so where does that stand now? Because we always have people asking about that.
One of the most iconic things that we have here on the grounds is our swinging bridge, and we love our swinging bridge. And there's people from the past who love our swinging bridge, and God used some people, local people who had said, hey, you need to get that bridge back. And so we were in a good spot to be able to take care of the financial part of getting that bridge replaced and fixed. However, you just don't take a Joe Schmo and just say, fix the swinging bridge. There's engineering that's now involved in that. And so we started taking the steps to getting the base shored up. Some of you might not know, but when the flood came, it literally not only cut out the whole bank in front of the swinging bridge, but it also undercut and tore out the under support of our of the pier that holds the swinging bridge, and so that needed to get reshored up. It needed to get taken care of. We needed to backfill with stone and get that part set up before we could actually get the bridge done. Well, it just so happens, as it also does, we had a group come in to help set up for outdoor ed. In that group was another engineer and a contractor, and they just took a walk over to the swinging bridge, and their wheels started turning about how they could maybe not just fix the bridge, but make it better. Mm-hmm. Keep it a swinging bridge, but maybe re-engineer it so that it's a little more, it'll have the same classic swinging bridge look, but it'll just structurally be a little bit better. And so they offered to do that, and so that is scheduled to happen in April of this year.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Looking forward there. Some other ministries that were happening earlier on in the year. We've got our Trails to Truth, which, if you're unfamiliar, Stephen's really familiar because he has children that participate in it.
That's right.
I've horse ministry.
My daughter Elizabeth has been involved in it since the beginning of the ministry program, and I think one of my sons is getting ready to try to jump on board come August of next year.
There you go.
But yeah, man, that has taken off. James and Hannah and Harley and the whole crew down there, they do just a fantastic job with that. My kids have benefited from it greatly, and it's been really, really cool to see how that ministry program has evolved over the past few years. Even extending, their facility wise over there after the flood and whatnot. But man, they have just taken off, and they're doing just a great job. They got the most kids they've ever had in the program right now, and it continues to grow. It's going fantastic.
Right. Our philosophy here in ministry at Camp Nathaniel is now Trails to Truth was not. That's a fairly new ministry.
It is. Mm-hmm.
It's not something that we've had for a long time. But James and Hannah Bennett, who do lead our horse program, have done a great job in not just starting that ministry, but developing it. For those of you that don't understand, it's not just learning about horses, but it's also being discipled in God's Word at the same time. And so a lot of that parallels together. And in ministry, our philosophy is this: we don't do ministry for ministry's sake.
Yep.
We need to be convinced that it's effective and meeting a need. And this was one of those ministries that we felt like we kind of forecasted that, we do live in the state of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. That is kind of a horse state.
Yep.
And so we knew that this was a ministry that we thought would grow. The first year I think they had four or six kids in the program, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but I knew that once that ball got rolling, I was pretty confident that it would grow. We don't know, but we prayed. And we get the word out, and of course, it over doubled this year.
Yeah, I think now they're up to like 16 somewhere through there.
So that's an indicator to us that things are going well. When a ministry jumps like that, and you see what is happening, and you have to remember, it's not just about the kids that are being ministered to. We look at the extension of how we can administer to that family.
And this is very intentional ministry.
Exactly.
I'll say that because when discipleship is a key component here, because you're talking about let's say 16 kids. Well, to some people that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you realize that there is a commitment level involved here, and these kids are here on campus twice a week, and they are here for that time, and they are being intentionally discipled. I mean that's ministry. I mean, Jesus took 12 guys, man, and
changed the world. So
you pour into individual lives, and that's what we see an example of here.
Yeah. So we say all that to say we are absolutely excited, thrilled about what's happening in Trails of Truth. Now, like any ministry, to do it well, it takes people, and then it takes financial backing. The horses cost money.
Yes, they do.
But God has been faithful, and He is raising up people who look at that program, who love horses, and so we're just excited about what is not just happening right now, but what that program could be. I really believe that Trails to Truth could be one of the become a very major emphasis in ministry of Camp Nathaniel.
No doubt. Well, What else we got, Lee?
We had, again, continuing on with different ministries that were going on earlier in the year, we had our women's ministry and the men's ministry, which, if you're unfamiliar, the women's ministry, basically they're holding conferences, which have been, from what I can tell and talking to different people, they seem to be growing, especially
both on and off campus.
On and off campus, especially the on-campus ones, though, seem to be picking up quite a bit. And so when they're putting on an event, it seems to keep getting bigger and bigger.
And we just had one here not too long ago, just within the past month.
Beginning of December there.
Yeah.
The men's ministry, in a similar note, has been doing men's conferences, which we've been having games and different things like that out in the fields. And those have been, I don't know if they've grown, but they've been pretty consistent. They started off with a good number of people, and I think we've kind of maintained that. And so it's been exciting to see how that's become more, because it's only been happening for a couple of years
of years, but then you also you got some father-son events as part of that ministry as well.
And so it's just slowly it feels like it's become more intentional, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because before it was just like, okay, we're going to try to do this big thing. We're going to see who wants to show up, and we're going to be intentional with it. We're going to have a good speaker, all those different things. But then now that we've got that group and we know about, like, okay, this many people are coming, these different people are coming, these dads and sons are coming. It's like, how can we pour into those people specifically to encourage those, for dads with their sons? How do we encourage them to disciple their family and their children? But then along with that, just at the men's events, how do we encourage those men to go out and make an impact in their family, in their church, in their community, just everywhere that they're going? And so a lot of the conversations as we're having our men's ministry meetings have been more like, okay, how are we pushing them? How are we trying to raise the bar for them and to say, okay, this is where we are now. How do we get to the next level? How do we continue to grow?
And these men and women's ministries, let me just say this from a local church perspective. Listen, if you're a pastor in the area, I cannot express to you enough how vitally important these events are for your congregation. Getting your people involved, bringing a group of men, bringing a group of women, married couples retreat, getting couples involved in there and whatnot. There are so many opportunities for you to take advantage of here on campus. Jeff, you're gonna chime in here. I know you're biting at the bit here, man.
And that really again, we don't do ministry for just ministry's sake. A lot of the events that we do, we go back to the core of who we are as a mission. We are a parachurch organization. We exist to help and encourage the local church. And I don't know about what Stephen was talking about. We don't want to take the place of the local church.
Right.
We just want to facilitate growth and encouragement for the local church. So if I'm a local pastor, and again, it is what it is in our area. Many of the pastors, we don't have a lot of full-time pastors who are gaining a salary from their church. They're laymen. They have jobs. Their schedule is packed. They don't have the resources. They don't have the availability to plan or put together an event. Guess what? We'll do it for you. You just have to pack your van and bring them over.
Yep.
And hopefully, as a pastor, you would look at that and say, oh my goodness, they're doing all the work for me. All I got to do is put an announcement up 3 weeks or a month before the event happens and reserve the van and get them over to camp. And allow us, give us the privilege to be able to pour in, to encourage, and to help put on some events to help facilitate church cohesion. To bring your people together, to give them an experience where they can enjoy and see other men, other women.
You create community within the body of Christ.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And getting multiple churches together to do that.
That's
to
right.
see that how it's like, hey, we are all worshiping one God.
Exactly.
So listen, if you're a local pastor, contact camp, get an event calendar. All right,
or call and say, hey, we want to know more, and I'd be happy to come over and talk to your church, explain exactly what it is. I've got calendars. We'll leave them there at your church for the year coming up.
You can go to campnathaniel.org. You can get a lot of information there on the website. You can follow camp on Facebook. So many ways in order to get the information that you need. And camp is here available for you, just as Jeff said, to assist the local church in making disciples. Great resource. Let's see. We had a college retreat. Yeah,
It was new.
it was new. And in fact, it was really good, man. Really good. A good friend of mine, Kurt Vernon, came down, led worship for the weekend, also spoke.
Yep.
Just did a phenomenal job for the first one of these that camp has ever done, because it was one of those, Jeff, where, I mean, you know where I'm going. You know, it was the one event that everybody said, why doesn't camp do something for the college
Right. So
kids?
this event was motivated by demand. Really, here's the challenge. You know, some people think, oh, you're a summer camp. What do you do the rest of the year? That's always kind of a chuckle question when people ask me. If you look at our annual calendar, you'll see that starting in February all the way through November, there's not a lot of free time in our camp. With the campgrounds being used. And so weekends are packed. And so really part of that was finding a free weekend, but then it was finding, like you said, the resources to be able to, we don't do it just for ministry's sake. When we do something, we want to do it quality. Of course, Camp Nathaniel, you're always going to be fed good. But yeah, it was built out of demand. And so we decided to give it a shot, this past year.
And it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
I was there for part of it, helping serve. I don't remember exactly if I was back in the kitchen or what I was doing then, but it was a really fun weekend. I went to one of the worship services, and if you're unfamiliar, we have weekend events for grade school and middle school, and those are a ton of fun, and there's a lot of energy that is packed into those because it's grade schoolers and middle schoolers, and you pack as many different games and exciting things and over the top. And the college retreat, it was almost a little bit more relaxed. It was like it
was very chill, man.
It was still a lot of fun because we did some big games and different things like that. But it was interesting just to see the different dynamic of the difference between grade school week and college age kids. Is you're like, oh, this is. Also, I say college-age kids. They're not kids at that point. They are young adults.
I think that might be the kicker. From a staff standpoint, it was like, man, everybody kind of takes care of themselves, and it's this is really cool, kind of a cool kind of feeling. We felt like more. I know myself as a staff member, I felt almost more like a participant than I did a staff member that weekend, which was great too. But no, man, it is great to see how. That area, that age group is a hard age group to pinpoint when it comes to ministry events, programming, and stuff along those lines. We know that from a local church perspective, but it's really, really good to see that happening here on campus now. Awesome stuff. Let's talk Senior Citizen Days. This is something that I'll. Over the past couple of years that I've always loved getting to be part of, and we had a great crowd this past year at Senior Citizen Days, and I know the Mushans do such a good job of getting the word out to a lot of area senior groups and whatnot. And again, this is just another great opportunity for the local church to get involved with their people. I mean, it's just over and over and over again here. We could beat that dead horse for a long time. All right. But yeah, any word on the senior days here, guys?
During one of the days that we had Senior Citizen Days, we try to ask, like, hey, have you ever been to camp before, and different things like that. And a few of these people who are, they had gone to camp years and years and years ago, and it was fun to go to those tables and talk to some of them because they would tell stories about, like, well, I came to camp and I did this and this and this and this and this, and then their friend who's sitting right next to him has never been to camp. And they drug them along for that. They're like, no, you got to come with me and come check this place out.
Yeah, I love, Jeff, one of the things that you did at Senior Days this year is one of the first things you do on each day. You stand up and ask people to share their camp stories.
Yes.
Absolutely great. I mean, I don't know if there's another, maybe on senior night of high school camp week, you get that kind of feel, but to hear people tell camp stories from 50 years ago.
Yeah, and it's like it happened yesterday for them.
Right. Exactly.
It's, it's made an impression on them when they when they're telling the story, they're right down to the details of what was going on that day. What they were, I was wearing a pair of shorts and whatever, it's like they can remember everything about it. And yeah, it's special to hear those testimonies. It's not so much for the people. I'll be honest with you. It's not so much for the benefit of the people of the conference. It encourages me to know that camp has had this long lasting, impact on people, and to see what's happened with those people in their lives, and to hear, how they've grown in their relationship with the Lord, and here they are in their, 60s or 70s or 80s, and still walking with the Lord. That's encouraging.
Yeah,
it's good to see. And so, yeah, another opportunity again for people to be able to fellowship, come around a meal here at Camp Nathaniel, which of course food is front and center all the time. Usually when we do an event at camp, we love to make sure that people are getting fed physically, but also spiritually. It's our senior citizen luncheon has turned into almost like a little bit of a reunion now. And so people that have come back keep coming back, and it's people that they've not seen for a whole year because they're from another area or another community. And so it's good to see those relationships develop. COVID has taken a hit on our senior, has caused us to see our numbers drop since COVID, but I think they're slowly starting to build back. So we're excited about that.
Good.
Really quick, before we let you go, we've got some very urgent information for you. Family camp registration.
Yeah, so family camp registration is one of those things that gets done early. This year, it's going to be January 6th, so that's in just less than a week. January 6th, starting at 10 a.m., registration opens up for family camp. Now, a lot of people say, why is that?
I'll clarify, 10 a.m. Eastern time,
Yeah,
because we got a few people that come from very far away.
10 a.m. Eastern time. And so some people say, well, why, what is that all about? If you are not familiar with the registration process for family camp, literally within 45 minutes, that will totally fill up.
It is our most popular event.
Yeah, a couple different reasons. One is we give you a week of family camp during the week of 4th of July. There's no cost to that. We run that simply on offerings and donations from the people and participants that are here, and we're always hoping every year that people will give enough to cover the cost of that week. Normally, that does happen, and so it's a very popular week. And there's one little change because of some of the unfortunate people who were canceling their reservations so late in the year. The committee has decided to do a $100 refundable deposit during registration this year. So if you go online to register at 10 a.m., you'll see that we will be asking for a $100 non-refundable deposit if you decide to sign up and if you get in. Yep. If you register and you come and get in, when you come to camp during 4th of July for family camp, you'll have the opportunity to get that $100 back, or you can contribute it to the expenses of that week and use it as a donation. So either or, but we are putting that little hitch in there.
Yep. And that's the reason we do that. When we have family camp, our goal is to max out our housing.
Right.
We want as many people to be able to come and stay on campus as possible. And that is, if you can imagine, there are families of 10, there are couples that come where it's just 2 of them, and it is a large puzzle that has to be put together for that. And so this helps us know, hey, these people are coming, they are committed, and we are going to get as many people here as we can.
Right. And we're hopeful most of the people use the online option. If you are uncomfortable with that and you don't know really quite what to do, you'll have to log in through our website at campnathaniel.org. I think there will be a link set up for you to be able to do that. But if you don't know how to maneuver, there's an option of calling into the camp. However, that could be slower. And again, because time is of essence, we want you to have every opportunity to be part of that week.
And if for some reason, the way that it's worked out each year, we'll have a max number of registrants that are able to come and get themselves registered for camp. We'll have, after that list gets filled up, we have a waiting list because ever so often somebody will change their plans or different things happen and somebody's able to not come, which opens up a spot for somebody else to be able to come. So there is a waiting list that comes in after that. But ideally, if you're hearing this and it's on January 1st, 10 a.m. on the 6th
is the time.
I am getting in and I'm getting it done.
You really need to, not kidding, if it's something that you want to pursue, put it on, set the calendar on your phone to let you know a half hour before time so that you can get in and register for that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we've got so much more to talk about than we could possibly fit into one episode here. We've still got to talk about this past summer. We're going to talk about the outdoor ed program. We're going to talk about a brand new youth conference that took place right here on campus, as well as we got new staff members. So many things that we need to talk about that Jeff, we're gonna take this into 2 episodes if that's cool with you.
That'd be great.
All right, good deal. Lee, you got anything, man, before we get ready to head out of here? What did I just say? Head out of here.
Head out of here. Happy New Year, everybody. If we're excited that you're listening to us. If you're listening at this point and you haven't already subscribed, what are you doing?
Come on, man.
It's the new year. It's time to go on and hit the subscribe button. It's the new year. That way you're getting all the info. We'll have to say thank you to Cameron for making us sound so
as
nice.
Always. Give
the shout
Cameron.
out at the beginning of the year here. And guys, we'll be back with you on the 15th.
Thanks for letting us have about 30 minutes of your New Year's. All right, that's good. We appreciate that, don't we?
We do.
All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you back here on January 15th. This is the voice of Camp Nathaniel.